Have you ever wondered why some women bring nothing but chaos into a man's life, while others bring peace, wisdom, and growth? Why do some men, even strong, intelligent men, fall into the trap of a foolish woman and pay for it with years of pain, regret, and wasted energy? The truth is, it's not her beauty that matters. It's not her charm, and it's certainly not the sweet words she says in the beginning. What really matters, the thing that will decide your future, is her character. Because a woman's character is either the sharpest sword that will cut your life to pieces, or the steady light that guides you forward. And here's the painful reality. Most men don't realize this until it's too late. By the time her true nature is revealed, they've already given her their time, their money, and sometimes even their soul. That's why you must learn to recognize the warning signs early. Today, I'm going to reveal signs of a stupid woman. Signs most men ignore until it's too late. These are not just simple red flags. They are timeless warnings backed by Stoic wisdom and psychology. Because if you ignore them, you won't just lose money. You'll lose your peace, your dignity, and years of your life. Let's dive in. 1. She chooses drama over peace. A wise man once said, "The quality of your life depends on the quality of your relationships." And nowhere is this more true than in the type of woman you allow into your life. Now let me tell you something that will open your eyes. A woman addicted to drama is like a fire in your living room. At first it looks small, maybe even exciting. But if you don't recognize it for what it is, it will eventually burn your entire house down. Think about it. Have you ever met a woman who seems incapable of enjoying peace? She creates problems out of thin air. If you go left, she asks why you didn't go right. If you go right, she demands why you didn't go left. There is no winning because her satisfaction is not in harmony, it's in conflict. Michael, a guy I knew from New York, was caught in this trap. He dated a woman named Emily who was beautiful, full of energy, and exciting to be around. At first he thought her fiery personality was passion, but slowly he noticed something darker. Emily couldn't survive without arguments. If Michael didn't answer her text within 10 minutes, she exploded. If he went to see his brother in Brooklyn, she accused him of ignoring her. If he came home tired from work and wanted rest, she started fights just to get a reaction. At first, Michael tolerated it. He told himself, "She just loves me too much." But deep down he was being drained. His peace disappeared. His focus at work collapsed. He felt like he was living in a battlefield instead of a relationship. Here's what Stoic wisdom teaches us. An ungoverned soul creates storms everywhere it goes. And a stupid woman, addicted to drama, will bring storms into your life whether you invite them or not. Now let me give you a deeper insight. Why does she do this? Why does a woman choose drama instead of peace? The answer is shocking because inside she is empty. Drama gives her meaning. Chaos distracts her from facing her own lack of growth, her own lack of peace, her own lack of direction. Instead of working on herself, she works on tearing others down. Instead of creating harmony, she creates noise. She is addicted to emotional turbulence the way some people are addicted to alcohol. And here's the trap for men. Many confuse this for passion. Men think, she fights because she cares. She screams because she loves. No, she fights because she has no control over herself. She screams because she cannot face silence. And if you allow her into your life, her storms will become your storms. Ask yourself, when I'm with her, do I feel calm? Or do I feel like I'm walking on eggshells? Does she make my life lighter or heavier? Because here's the truth most men learn too late. A woman who chooses drama over peace will never let you rest. And peace is not a luxury, it is the foundation of your sanity. 2. She values materialism over character. Let me tell you a secret most men ignore. You can discover the depth of a woman's wisdom by looking at what she values. A wise woman values loyalty, kindness, honesty, and growth. A foolish woman? She values handbags, likes on Instagram, flashy cars, and status symbols. Daniel, a guy I once met in London, fell into this exact trap. He met a woman named Sarah who was stunning, stylish, and incredibly charming. At first, Daniel thought he had won the lottery. But it didn't take long before he saw the truth. Every time they went out, Sarah compared him to other men. If a man pulled up in a nicer car, she pointed it out. If her friend's boyfriend bought expensive gifts, she complained. Daniel wasn't doing enough. Even when Daniel worked hard to give her nice things, she always wanted more. Do you see the problem? A woman who values materialism over character will never be satisfied. Because no matter how much you give her, it's never enough. You buy her one handbag, she wants 3. You take her to dinner, she asks why you didn't take her to Paris, you give her loyalty, she throws it away because she can't show it off on Instagram. The Stoics warned us external things are fleeting. Money, beauty, status, they come and go. What matters is virtue, the soul, the character within. But a stupid woman is blind to this. She will trade loyalty for luxury. She will abandon depth for diamonds. Here's the painful truth. A woman who worships materialism is like a bottomless pit. No matter what you pour into her, the pit never fills. You can spend your entire life working, grinding, giving, sacrificing, and still, she will look at you one day and say, "It's not enough." Let me give you an example. Daniel once surprised Sarah with a weekend trip to Barcelona. He thought she would be thrilled. Instead, her first reaction was, "Why not Paris? Emily's boyfriend just took her to Paris." In that moment, Daniel realized something life-changing. He was not her partner. He was her provider. He was not loved for who he was. He was measured for what he could give. This is the danger of a stupid woman who values materialism over character. She doesn't see your soul. She only sees your wallet. And when she finds someone with a bigger wallet, she will leave. Ask yourself, does she light up when she sees me or when she sees what I give her? Does she praise my character or only my possessions? Because here's the wisdom you must never forget. A woman who values materialism will never stay loyal to a man. She will only stay loyal to the lifestyle he provides. 3. She cannot control her emotions. One of the strongest marks of wisdom in both men and women is emotional control, the ability to remain steady when storms rage, the power to respond with clarity instead of exploding with chaos. And yet one of the clearest signs of a stupid woman is that she cannot control her emotions. She reacts instead of reflects. She explodes instead of thinking. She allows her feelings to dictate her every action like a ship without a captain being tossed by waves. Let me tell you about James, a man from Toronto. James was a steady, hard-working man, respected in his company and admired by his friends. He fell in love with a woman named Olivia. At first, Olivia seemed warm and kind, but over time, James discovered something deeply troubling. Olivia had no control over her emotions. If James was late by 10 minutes, Olivia would cry and accuse him of not caring. If he disagreed with her opinion, she screamed until he apologized. If life didn't go her way, if she had a stressful day at work, or if her plans fell apart, James became her punching bag. At first, James brushed it off. He told himself, she's just passionate. She feels things deeply. But slowly he realized he was living in fear. Fear of saying the wrong word. Fear of being honest. Fear of her next emotional explosion. Here's the truth. A woman without emotional control will make you feel like you're walking on eggshells every single day. You'll never know what version of her you're getting. Will she be loving, or will she be explosive? The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He who angers you conquers you." And in James's case, Olivia conquered him daily. His once strong confidence crumbled under the weight of constant emotional warfare. Now let's ask the deeper question, why does a foolish woman lack emotional control? The answer is simple yet profound, because she never learned discipline of the self. She never learned that feelings are not facts. She never built the strength to pause, reflect, and master her inner world. Instead, she weaponizes her emotions. She cries to manipulate. She screams to dominate. She sulks to control. And here's the dangerous part. If you stay long enough, you begin to normalize it. You begin to believe, this is what love looks like: constant explosions followed by brief apologies. But that's not love. That's emotional slavery. Contrast this with a wise woman. When she's upset, she breathes. She reflects. She communicates calmly. She may feel emotions strongly, but she doesn't let them control her actions. She respects herself enough not to become a prisoner of her impulses. So here's the lesson. If a woman cannot control her emotions will control your life. And no man, no matter how strong, can build peace, family, or future on the shaky foundation of emotional chaos, for she disrespects others. Respect is the foundation of all relationships. How a woman treats others, strangers, waiters, her family, her friends, reveals far more about her character than how she treats you in the first months of romance. Because in the beginning, she's wearing a mask. But when she deals with others, her true face appears. I'll give you an example. In Los Angeles, I once met a woman named Sarah. On the surface, Sarah was breathtakingly beautiful. She dressed elegantly, spoke confidently, and carried herself like a queen. Many men were drawn to her, but there was something deeply ugly beneath the surface. At restaurants, she snapped at waiters if they didn't bring her food fast enough. With her friends, she gossiped cruelly the moment they left the room. Around her parents, she showed no gratitude for the sacrifices they made. At first, men excused it. They told themselves, she's just fiery. She's outspoken. But the truth was undeniable. Sarah disrespected others because she believed she was above them. She thought her beauty excused her arrogance. Now here's where most men fail. They believe that because she treats them well at first, they are safe. But respect is not selective. If a woman disrespects others, it's only a matter of time before she disrespects you. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wrote, "The worth of a man is measured by what he pursues." The same applies to women. A wise woman pursues respect and kindness. A foolish woman pursues superiority by belittling others. Let me share a story of Daniel, a man from Manchester. He dated a woman who was beautiful and ambitious. But slowly, Daniel noticed something troubling. She mocked people constantly. She insulted her co-workers. She rolled her eyes at waiters. She treated everyone she believed was beneath her with contempt. And then, after a year of dating, she began treating Daniel the same way. She criticized his efforts, mocked his dreams, and belittled him in front of friends. Daniel realized too late her disrespect was not an act. It was her nature. Here's the hard truth. A woman who disrespects others will eventually disrespect you. You cannot build love where there is no honor. And let's dig even deeper. Why does she disrespect others? Because it's easier to tear others down than to build herself up. Disrespect is the weapon of the insecure. A foolish woman uses it to feel powerful, but in reality it reveals her weakness. A wise woman, by contrast, uplifts. She treats a stranger with kindness. She shows gratitude to her family. She honors her man with words that strengthen him. So here's the lesson. Watch how she treats others, not when she's trying to impress you, but when she thinks no one is watching. That's when her true character is revealed. Because remember this, love without respect is impossible. And if she cannot show respect to others, she cannot show it to you. 5. She avoids responsibility. One of the clearest signs of a foolish woman is that she avoids responsibility at all costs. Whenever something goes wrong, it's never her fault. She is always the victim, always the one done wrong, always pointing the finger outward instead of inward. Let me give you an example. Daniel, a man from Manchester, once dated a woman named Chloe. At first, Chloe seemed fun, charming, and carefree. But soon Daniel realized that Chloe had a dangerous pattern. Every failure in her life, every setback, every disappointment was someone else's fault. When she failed an exam at university, she said, "The professor hated me." When she lost her job at a cafe, she claimed, "The manager was jealous of me." When friendships ended, she said, "They were toxic." And when her previous relationships failed, she said, "All my exes were crazy." Daniel, like many men, ignored these warning signs. He told himself, she's just unlucky. But Stoic wisdom teaches us, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. Wise person takes responsibility and learns from mistakes. A foolish person blames the world and remains stuck in immaturity. Now here's the deeper psychology. Why does a stupid woman avoid responsibility? Because accountability requires growth. It requires humility. It forces her to look in the mirror and say, "I need to change." But that's exactly what she fears most. Growth is uncomfortable. Blame is easy. And here's trap for men if you are with a woman who never accepts responsibility. Her failures will become your burden. You will be blamed for everything. If she overspends and goes into debt, she'll say, "You didn't provide enough." If she fights with friends, she'll say, "You didn't support me." If she feels unhappy, she'll say, "You don't make me happy." Over time, you will find yourself carrying the weight of her irresponsibility. You will become the scapegoat for her lack of maturity. And the more you try to rescue her, the more she will blame you when things still go wrong. Let me give you another story. In London, a man named James married a woman who always played the victim. At first, he thought he could save her, that by being loving, he could heal her pain. But after years of marriage, he realized something painful. You cannot save someone who refuses responsibility. He spent years fixing problems she created, paying debts she caused, apologizing for fights she started. And no matter what he did, she always blamed him. The Stoics remind us you cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. A wise woman understands this. She says, "I made a mistake. I'll do better." A foolish woman says, "It's your fault. It's their fault. It's fate's fault." Here's the lesson. If she refuses to own her mistakes, she will never grow. And if she never grows, your relationship will be a prison of blame. 6. She lacks vision and purpose. Another clear sign of a stupid woman is that she lacks vision and purpose. She drifts through life without direction, living only for the next weekend, the next party, the next thrill. Now, don't misunderstand. Vision doesn't always mean a high-powered career or grand ambitions. It simply means having direction, a reason to wake up in the morning, a path she is walking, a goal she is pursuing. Without this, she is like a leaf blowing in the wind. And if you tie your life to hers, you will be blown around too. Michael, a man from Sydney, experienced this firsthand. He dated a woman named Sophie who was fun, lively, and exciting. At first, Michael enjoyed her energy, but after a while he noticed something troubling. Every conversation circled back to celebrity gossip, Instagram drama, or where they were going to drink next weekend. When Michael asked her about her future goals, she shrugged. When he encouraged her to take a course, learn a skill, or work towards something meaningful, she laughed and said, "Why stress? I just want to enjoy life." At first, this seemed harmless, but slowly Michael realized something powerful. Sophie's lack of purpose was dragging him down too. When he talked about his career goals, she dismissed them. When he tried to save money for the future, she spent it on nights out. When he thought about building a life, she thought about the next party. The Stoics warned us, a life without purpose is slavery to impulses. And that's exactly what a foolish woman becomes, a slave to her impulses. She's controlled not by vision but by cravings. Social media tells her what to want. Friends tell her what to do. She's always chasing pleasure but never building meaning. Let me tell you why this is so dangerous. A woman without purpose will resent your purpose. If you work late because you're chasing a dream, she'll complain you don't give her enough attention. If you save money for the future, she'll call you boring. If you discipline yourself for growth, she'll try to pull you back into mediocrity. And here's the deepest truth. A woman without purpose cannot support a man with purpose. She will feel threatened by your ambition because it highlights her lack of it. Instead of building you up, she will drag you down. Contrast this with a wise woman. A wise woman may or may not have a glamorous career, but she has direction. She might be studying, building a business, raising children with devotion, or even focusing on her spiritual growth. Whatever it is, she moves with intention. She has something bigger guiding her life than just temporary pleasure. A foolish woman, however, lives permanently in adolescence. She seeks constant entertainment, endless validation, and short-term thrills. And when her looks fade, when the parties end, when the attention dries up, she is left with nothing. Here's the lesson. If she lacks vision and purpose, she cannot build a future with you. Because the future is built only by those who walk with direction. 7. She undermines her man instead of building him up. Perhaps the most dangerous sign of a stupid woman is this. Instead of building her man up, she tears him down. She undermines him with criticism, sarcasm, and disrespect, often without even realizing the destruction she is causing. Let me share a story from Chicago. A man named Daniel was ambitious, hardworking, and full of dreams. He started dating a woman named Jessica, who at first seemed supportive. She laughed at his jokes, complimented his work ethic, and encouraged him in small ways. But over time, the mask slipped. Whenever Daniel shared his dreams, Jessica mocked him. If he talked about starting his own business, she rolled her eyes and said, "Be realistic. You'll never compete with real entrepreneurs." If he mentioned traveling the world, she laughed, "You can barely afford dinner. How will you see the world?" What started as small jokes slowly became poison. Daniel, once confident, began to doubt himself. Every time he thought of a new idea, he hesitated. Not because he doubted the idea, but because he feared Jessica's ridicule. His ambition shrank. His self-esteem collapsed. He became a shadow of the man he once was. Here's the lesson. A stupid woman doesn't just criticize. She kills the spirit of a man. Now you might ask, why does she do this? Why does a woman undermine her man instead of supporting him? The answer is rooted in insecurity. A foolish woman feels threatened by a man's growth because his growth exposes her lack of it. Instead of rising with him, she tries to pull him down to her level. Stoic wisdom warns us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you spend your days with a woman who constantly belittles you, mocks you, and doubts you, Your soul will become dyed with insecurity. You will begin to believe her words even if they are lies. And here's the hidden danger. Undermining rarely comes as outright attacks. It often comes in subtle, sarcastic remarks. When you succeed, she says, well, it's not that big of a deal. When you fail, she says, I knew it wouldn't work. When you share a dream, she says, you're dreaming too big. At first, you might laugh it off. You might even mistake it for playfulness. But over time, these small cuts add up. And death by 1,000 cuts is still death. Let me give you another story. In London, a man named James worked hard to become a lawyer. His girlfriend, Anna, never openly insulted him, but she constantly planted seeds of doubt. If he worked late, she sighed. You'll never make partner anyway, so why bother? If he shared excitement about a case, she said, it's not like your clients even respect you. Slowly, James began to dread coming home. The place that should have been his sanctuary became a battlefield of subtle insults. Contrast this with a wise woman. A wise woman understands that when she supports her man, she supports herself too. She knows that a confident, ambitious man brings strength and protection to the relationship. So she encourages him. She says, I believe in you. She stands by him in failure and cheers for him in success. She doesn't fear his growth, she grows alongside him. The foolish woman, however, cannot do this. She undermines instead of uplifts. She tears down instead of builds up. And here's the devastating truth. A man stripped of his confidence cannot lead, cannot protect, and cannot love fully. Men often underestimate this. They think her words don't affect me, but they do. Words are seeds, and over time they grow. If a woman plants seeds of doubt in you every day, those doubts will eventually become your reality. The Stoics taught us that our environment shapes us. And what is more influential than the person you share your life with? A wise partner becomes your ally. A foolish partner becomes your enemy within. Here's the sharpest lesson you must never forget. If she undermines you now, she will undermine you forever. Marriage won't fix it. Children won't fix it. Time won't fix it. Because this isn't about circumstances, it's about character. A wise man knows that his partner must be his strength, not his weakness. His partner must build him, not break him. Because the world already brings enough challenges. The last thing a man needs is to come home and fight another war inside his own house. So ask yourself this. Does she make you feel stronger after being with her? Or weaker? Does she inspire you to dream bigger? Or does she make you shrink? Does she build you into more of a man? Or does she chip away at you piece by piece? The answer to those questions is the difference between a life of achievement and a life of regret. Between a man who rises and a man who collapses. And remember this final truth. A woman who undermines her man is not just destroying him, she is destroying herself too. Because a man without confidence cannot give her the love, protection, or leadership she secretly craves. In tearing him down, she loses the very thing she wanted all along. That is the tragedy of a stupid woman. Conclusion. These are the 7 signs of a stupid woman. Ignore them and you will invite chaos into your life. Pay attention and you will save yourself years of pain. The Stoics taught us that wisdom is not in changing others, but in choosing wisely who we allow close to us. Beauty fades. Charm deceives, but character remains. So ask yourself, does she bring peace or chaos, growth or destruction, respect or ridicule? The answer to that question is the difference between a life of regret and a life of peace. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.